Hey everybody, these are the books I intend to read in February. Let's go through them one at a time. So first is Remarkably Bright Creatures. I am currently reading this. This is a library copy, but I actually bought the book on Audible for $6. This is great. It's about, let me just read you the synopsis. After Tova Sullivan's husband died, she began working the night shift at the Sowell Bay Aquarium, mopping floors and tidying up. Keeping busy has always helped her cope, which she's been doing since her 18-year-old son, Eric, mysteriously vanished on a boat in Puget Sound over 30 years ago. Tova became acquainted with curmudgeonly Marcellus, a giant Pacific octopus living at the aquarium. Marcellus knows more than anyone can imagine, but wouldn't dream of lifting one of his 8 arms for his human captors until he forms a remarkable friendship with Tova. Even the detective, Marcellus, deduces what happened the night Tova's son disappeared. And now Marcellus must use every trick in his book, in his old invertebrate body, can muster to unearth the truth for her before it's too late. Shelby Van Pelt's debut novel is a gentle reminder that sometimes taking a hard look at the past can help uncover a future that once felt impossible. So again, it's perspective of an octopus living in an aquarium. So far, I'm loving it. I've heard the reviews say it's very calming, very relaxing. So far, I'm really enjoying it. So we'll dig into that more. Another book from the library, tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. I do not have a audio of this. I don't have it on Libby. I don't have it on Hoopla or anything like that. But I'm just physically reading. I'm about 50 pages in. So far, I'm loving it. So we'll go over the what it says here. On a bitter cold day in December of his junior year at Harvard, Sam Masser exits a subway car and sees, amid the hordes of people waiting on the platform, Sadie Green. He calls her name. For a moment, she pretends she hasn't heard him, but then she turns and the game begins, a legendary collaboration that will launch them to stardom. These friends, intimate since childhood, borrow money, beg favors, and before even graduating college, they have created their first blockbuster video game. So again, it's about 2 young people, not kids, but 2 young adults that create a video game, and it's their life journey through creating this video. So far, 50 pages in, I've learned a lot about the past of the children and how they met each other in the hospital, and the past of how each kid's history has coincided to create this relationship. So far, it is great. I guess you would call this lit fic. I've not read a lot of lit fic, to be completely honest. My history with reading is that from from 1999, really, I was born in 88, so I'm 37. So from 92 until 2020, I was like purely a nonfiction person. I've been obsessed with nonfiction, science books, everything you can imagine, physics, like everything you can imagine in the nonfiction category I've consumed voraciously, including every self-help book, all that shit, business books. I basically have gotten so sick and disgusted of that industry, I've just gotten turned off. So I tried fiction. I've read fiction, obviously. I read Michael Crichton and stuff when I was young, and I read Star Wars when I was young, but I never consistently made an effort to look at fiction seriously. And so in 2020, 2021, whatever, I changed my tune and I was like, let me dive into this world of fiction. Basically, it's been a completely mindfuck experience. I love fiction now more than I ever have loved nonfiction. It's the most powerful, most moving, most emotionally, it's just so amazing. Fiction is so amazing. And I know so many people that are nonfiction only, and I still love nonfiction. I have a lot of history books, like half that stack's history and biography. But man, fiction, something about it. And I'm new to fiction, kind of. So again, I grew up reading Michael Crichton and stuff, but I'm new to fiction, honestly. This is lit fic. This is like one of my first lit fic books. I'm fucking loving, Loving, loving it. So I cannot wait to read more lit fic. Very excited about that. Next book, Bookshops and Bone Dust, the prequel to Legends and Lattes. I am new to fantasy. Again, new to fiction, so you can imagine I've never read fantasy. I've tried here and there Neil Gaiman. I heard Tim Ferriss recommend Neil Gaiman a couple times. So I tried it and I was like, this is pretty lame. I mean, Tim Ferriss raved about Neverwhere or some of these Stardust or some shit. I find the books so fucking stupid. So those books are boring and ridiculous and dumb. And also Neil Gaiman, whatever, fuck that guy. But I assumed that's how all fiction is. I was like, oh, Neil Gaiman equals all fiction. that's how I assumed all fantasy was, not fiction. So I assumed Neil Gaiman is the same as all other fantasy authors, and I just wrote them off. Big mistake. Should not have done that, because anyway, in 2025, October, I read Mistborn, book one, era one, and it's my first ever fantasy book I've read cover to cover and did the audio. And I became completely obsessed. I love it. I'm a big action person. I'm not really an adrenaline junkie myself, but I'm huge into like action movies. It's kind of like mainstream. I like mainstream stuff that way. Like, I know a lot of people are like anti-mainstream. I love fucking all the mainstream action movies. I'm obsessed with like all that stuff, you know, everything from all the stuff people made fun of. There's like this big thing in 2009 and 2010 and 2006 to make fun of like all the Transformer movies, Michael Bay. Like, everybody makes fun of, oh, that's lame if you like that. I love that stuff. I'm obsessed with that. I love chase scenes. I love Speed. I love Independence Day. I love Armageddon. All these movies, disaster movies, by the way, bro. Love disaster. I'm like obsessed with disaster movies. I haven't watched one in a couple years, but I used to obsessively watch disaster movies. 2012, Day After Tomorrow. I don't know why. I just fucking love those movies. Anyway, that aside, new to fantasy. Thought I wouldn't like it, but I ended up loving fantasy because of the action. That's the reason I mentioned that. I love the action elements in fantasy. There's like in Mistborn when they're doing the allomantic fights and they're throwing, like, there's one fight scene at the end of Mistborn book one where like there's this like person swinging the sword and it almost gets it, and he jumps back and he blows all these people away, and he like screams and he pushes all these like not cars, but he pushes all these carriages with all this metal, and he's like bro, that scene, I got goosebumps. The way it was written, he's just like screams, and it's like this, they're in this square. If you've read Mistborn, you know the scene I'm talking about. They're in this square. It's at the end of the book. It's the highest, most important point. Bro, I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. Loved it. Anyway, why am I mentioning that? Because I'm new to fantasy, new to cozy fantasy. I've never read cozy fantasy until 2025. After Mistborn, I did Legends and Lattes. I really liked it. I loved Legends. I really, really liked Legends and Lattes. I thought it was enjoyable. Fantastic. It wasn't a life-changing book. I don't think cozy fantasy is supposed to be. But I did love Legends and Lattes, so I'm trying this. So far, I'm liking this less. I'm listening to it on Libby and reading it. I'm liking it less. Now, one cozy fantasy book that I think is kind of life-changing, maybe life-changing is a bit dramatic, but The Spell Shop, bro, The Spell Shop is so fucking good. I got it from the library in 2025, like December. Whoa, that book is good. That's like on another level. To me, Legends and Lattes doesn't come close to The Spell Shop. The setting, the characters, the joy you get from the friendship, bro, it's so good. I can't describe how good it is. Anyway, that'll be that. Next up, I am reading, and I'm reading all these at the same time. Some of these, I'll mention the ones I'm not. I do that, like, where I read like a couple chapters a day from all these different books. I'm just weird like that. It's not ideal. I would not recommend that for other people. That's just how I do it for whatever reason. A horrific ADHD. I constantly have to switch around what I'm reading. My wife's reading this, and I'm really excited to dig into it. It's supposed to be fun. Again, I'm on page like 20. But it's supposed to be really fun, just kind of silly, but also exciting. I love murder mysteries. I never thought so. I never thought I did, but I love Knives Out. I love all that stuff. So I actually do like murder mysteries. So excited to read that. Now, preface for this next book. It's really thick. It's a very thick book. You probably saw a hint at what it was. But in I guess from November to January, so November 2025 to January 2025, I read my favorite book of all time, 11/22/63. It's my first Stephen King book. I've never read Stephen King because I don't like horror. Turns out he writes a lot of other types of books, and I got 11/22/63 on a whim, just randomly. I was like, I feel like I should read that, and I got it on Thrift Books for like $5. It's a old beat up copy. Anyway, I started reading that book, and my mind was blown. It is the best book ever, 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 ever. It's freaking so good. Now, I haven't read a lot of fiction, so you could argue I'm pulling from a very small sample size here, which is true, and I'll probably read better fiction in my life. But that book, the way it's written, the narrative, the characters, the love story, the seriousness of the action, it's so good. I cannot express how good that book is, man. Read 11/22/63 if you've never read it. So anyway, I made a decision. I'm always going to be reading a Stephen King book. Just like I'm always reading a Michael Crichton book. Love Rising Sun, love State of Fear. Congos, all the other ones are okay. Timeline's good. But I'm always going to be reading a Stephen King book. Kind of breaking my rule because right now I'm not. But my next one that I intend to read is Under the Dome. So this will be the next. This will take me months. I'm a very slow reader. You could probably tell. I'll just read a little bit for you and show you. This is how slow I read. When Junior went upstairs to rest his leg, Big Jim finished his sandwich, wiped the grease from his chin, then called Stuart. That's how fast I read, which is very slow. I have to verbally hear it in my head. And this will take me 2 months to read, minimum, maybe longer. It'll go quicker if I get the audiobook, which I'm not going to buy. But anyway, so this will take me a while. I'm really excited to read Under the Dome, though. Next, I am halfway through Great Big Beautiful Life. So here's the deal. I've never read any Emily Henry. I've never read any romance. My wife made me buddy read a audio book of Denise Hunter. I think that's her name. And an audio book with her of Denise Hunter, and it's like this book-oriented book where it's a novelist who moves to an island and then meets this guy. I fucking loved that book. So I don't know, I guess I love romance now. I don't know what the deal is. I thought of myself as somebody that doesn't like romance. It was great. I loved that book, man. It was called I think it was called A Novel Proposal by Denise Hunter. Whew, that was a good book. Read that book. Anyway, so I Googled it and I was like, okay, well then Emily Henry is the biggest romance author, so let's get one of her books. And then I also heard many people say this is her most lit-ficky. So this is very lit-ficky, which I don't even know what that means, but that's what I heard. So I got it. I'm using one of my favorite bookmarks. I love this book. This book, sorry that I haven't been explaining. Maybe I should be explaining what these books are about. This book is a girl who wants to do a biography of a famous media personality. It's like an impresario, a famous media empress kind of vibe. But she's doing this audition to be this biographer with a very sophisticated, very advanced kind of male counterpart that has a lot more experience than her. And it's this enemies to lovers thing where they meet, and where I'm at in the book, they haven't become lovers, but they're kind of still enemies. But they meet and they're trying to figure out each other, and they're in this little island town in the middle of nowhere, and they're trying to meet the locals, and they're trying to get information from this really cryptic lady who's saying a bunch of stuff that are lies and not true. And she's telling them false facts and real facts. It's really confusing, but I am loving it. I was on the treadmill the other day and I read like 150 pages. I love this book. It's super good. I will say I'm kind of at a little bit of point where I'm like, it's kind of dull right now, but it'll pick back up. I don't need action in my books. I view sometimes dialogue can be action. To me, personality can be action. Vibe can be action. Like anything can be propulsive in moving a story along. So excited to keep reading that. Another one that this is my intention. It's probably not going to happen, but in February, I'd love to read A Man at Arms. A Stephen Pressfield book. I've never read any Stephen Pressfield other than, obviously, everybody's read The War of Art. Everybody's read Do the Work. Everybody's read Put Your Ass Where Your Heart Wants to Be. Obviously, I've read all those books, the creative books. I've never read any of his fiction novels. I've never read A Man at Arms. I've never read the one about the Spartans. I've never read those books. So I'm excited to maybe read this one. It's thinner. The other book I think is much bigger. His more famous, The Gates of Fire. It's called Gates of Fire. It's much bigger than this one, so I thought this would be good. It's short. I can see if I like his writing. I got Michael Crichton's very first book ever. I think I'm going to hate this book. Michael Crichton's been really souring lately. I find a lot of his books very sour. I did like State of Fear. I did like Rising Sun. All the other ones were just okay. Timeline and Andromeda Strain are obviously his best, but anyway, the other ones were just okay. Eruption was terrible. Now, my new Michael Crichton, my new placeholder for Michael Crichton is Blake Crouch. So Blake Crouch is my new guy. Love Blake Crouch. I just did the Pines trilogy. I'm doing like so much Blake Crouch. It's the best books, best action techno thriller books ever. And then I got this, It's Not Her, from, obviously you can see it's book of the month. This is this month, February's book of the month. I picked this one. It kind of gave me Knives Out vibes. It's like a murder mystery. Courtney Gray's tranquil family vacation is shattered when she hears a blood-curdling scream. So she's on a lakeside cottage. Her sister's missing. It's like this murder mystery. It sounds cool. So I'm excited to read this. And I don't know if I've mentioned this one yet, but The Lost Bookshop. I got this at a used bookstore for like $1. And I've seen this on Kindle Unlimited. I think we've all seen this on Kindle Unlimited, but I'm excited to dig into that. And then a couple books not mentioned here. Number one, the books that aren't mentioned here are, I'm reading the third Mistborn book on audio. I've got a physical copy too, but I'm reading the third Mistborn book on audio. And then I intend to read the fifth Bobaverse Dennis E. Taylor book, which I am loving. The Bobaverse is my favorite sci-fi series ever. And I've been doing the books constantly. Like every time I'm done, I pick up the next one. I've been doing them via audio. I'm obsessed, completely obsessed with those books. So I'll be picking up the next book probably today even, and then starting that, probably finishing it in the next few days. I'm obsessed with that series. Okay, well, that's it. That's what I intend to read in February, and at the end of the month, I will do a recap on my thoughts and opinions. I still need to record a January recap. I did like 6 books in January. Let me just check. So I did 11 books for the year so far. I did 8 books in January, so I did 8 books. So I did, and these are books that I finished in January, so I could have started them before that. So anyway, I'll do a separate video and go over those. I'm really excited about that. Anyway, that's it for now. Talk to you in the next one.